up because we're about to get
Cause
it.
it's Friday, baby, and y'all know what happens on Fridays, man. Every single Friday we have a freestyle chat. My name is Danielle Cole. I am the co-founder of Modern Manhood Foundation. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Listen, before we get this started, go ahead and share this video, because it's gonna be a dope conversation today, man. I'm looking forward to this conversation with my brother who has been
Absolutely.
on the road, back and forth, all across the great world, making impact. And so let me go ahead and change this online before we start, so I can make sure my privacy is set and we can get
Listen,
this
while he's
thing
getting
going.
started, I'm gonna tell y'all something. In this season of celebrating and of being grateful and really renewal, right? Because it's December.
Yeah, baby.
I need y'all to put a little more energy into your boundaries.
Mm,
Oh,
I'm I'm
that's
gonna say
good.
that. I need y'all to put a little more energy into your boundaries. Not into canceling people, not into, the gossip, and not into the judgment, but the boundaries. The things, the systems, the people, and the thoughts that you have in place,
mm.
there to protect your ability to maintain peace and moving forward.
Listen, man.
Because
It used to be a luxury. Now it's a
mm,
necessity. And when we talk about in terms of intentional. But listen, we gonna get this thing going, all right, you guys. Good morning, everybody's tapping in with us. I like messy-ish. I don't know who said that, but it's gonna show up on her. We're gonna talk about that later on, all right? All right. So listen, we have an amazing guest with us today, Reverend Victor Patterson. I'm gonna go ahead and read your bio, my man, because I'm thrilled about some of the impact that you're making. He is a motivational speaker, community leader, impactful voice, specializing in working with parents, youth leaders, teens, and young adults. His primary gift is helping them discover their purpose and God given identity, increasing their self esteem, and overcoming obstacles to fail forward. What I love so much about his message is he has overcome many multiple life changing challenges, including failing out of middle school, high school, three different colleges, if not one and two, three different colleges, but eventually obtaining his master's degree from Langston University. He is an author. He goes and he has a literacy program that is called VP Speaks Foundation. So my brother has not only revolutionized his life by overcoming failure, but he also uses his platform to go into schools and teaching. He has a literacy program that works with kids with math, as well as reading and other different programs. So, Vic, man, we glad that you're here. I know you on like 2 hours of sleep with us, bro. But thank you for sharing the platform with us this morning.
Man, thank y'all for having me. Like I shared with y'all, man, I'm excited to be here this morning. I'm gonna be real, uncut, unfiltered,
Let's
but
go.
respectful. But I'm really glad to be here, man, because I respect y'all movement, man. I respect your I respect what you have created for the space. And actually, in this perfect time, the pandemic has caused a lot of us, especially us males, a lot of moments of mental health issues, identity crisis, and things of
Yes.
that nature. So to be able to have a platform that you can come on and be able to be yourself, speak and learn and grow from other men, man, that's powerful, man. We need more like this. So continue to do the good work.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, brother.
thank you for that, man. I said this thing about boundaries, and people are like, well, I would imagine people are thinking, well, what does that have to do with what he's doing and what he's, what Vic stands for? Because, like Donnell said, he needed to read the bio because he didn't want to leave anything out, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I,
Like
I
he,
don't, man.
he didn't want to leave anything out. But when we look at the work that you're doing, how did you get to this space through all the stuff that you've overcome? Because you can't do those things without being able to set a plan, to kind of set some boundaries for yourself and for other people so that you can get to a place where you can give and serve the way that you do. Where does that come
And,
from?
and one more thing too. You're a leading pastor too. So think about the idea of a lot of leading pastors having burnout, the health complications of being able to
Hmm.
take on more than they're willing to allow for themselves in terms of well-being is difficult.
Oh, we're getting there. We're going.
Yeah.
Man, so I'm gonna talk about your question, Cole, and then I'm gonna go to Doc's question. You're right. Being a senior pastor, um, it's not easy. First of all, but if it was easy, well, anybody would be doing it.
Mm,
And so that's where I would say you would know your purpose is and what your
Hmm.
calling is because no matter how many bad days you have, no matter how much or sleep you get or you don't get, no matter how much someone talks behind your back or spread lies or then want you to come and smile in their face and come on baby's birthday thing, come on mama because she's in the
Hmm.
hospital, all that stuff is real. And a lot of people don't see that on the side of the pastor. They see, oh, he's over at church. Oh, he's got to go preach or he got to do teaching and all that. Yeah, that's one
Yeah.
part, but that's not the major part because
yeah,
only that happens on usually on a Wednesday or Sunday. But guess what? There's 7 days in the week. And so what happens throughout the rest of the days, and so it's definitely moments where I'm like, yo, I'm done. Moments
Yeah.
like, yo, is this even worth it? Moments where I'm like, God, are you sure you calling me?
man.
But the next morning I wake up, I'm energized and I'm ready to do it again. And
Yeah.
so I warn people that you would know a pastor or if he's supposed to be or she's supposed to be in that ministry first of all by knowing how they act to other people or treat. I think when y'all was asking me how I wanted to be introduced, don't call me a pastor, man. I know I am. Just call me
Yeah,
Victor.
yeah,
Everywhere I go, I'm
Yeah.
Victor. Now, if there's conversations lead into what else I do, then those conversations lead into that. But a lot of times we have a lot of burnout because we self-inflict ourselves because we try to live up to a title, but we
Hmm.
was never meant
mm,
to be living up a label. Yeah, it's a good label, but can also be an unhealthy label.
yeah,
Most of the time, it's unhealthy because now we living up to something that God ain't really told us to live up to. Live
yeah.
up to yourself. He didn't say I'm calling past. No, he said I'm calling you to go spread my word. I'm calling you to go
I
share your
like it.
story. And when you do it in the right way, the integral way, I believe it becomes energetic. I believe it becomes exciting. I believe it becomes rewarding. And
Hmm.
because of that, you can wake up in the next day, no matter what happened on the day before, and say, "Let's go do it again."
That's dope, man. I like that.
Um,
Yeah.
and so, to your question, Doc, um, failure. I mean, that's my motivational platform. Failing forward, and who would have thought um, 20 years ago that I would be in the position I am in today? I'm 38, but who would have thought 20 years ago that I would be in the position I am today? I failed out of high school, in middle school, sixth, seventh, eighth grade. That right there could kill somebody's rest of their whole life.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
but they built resilience in me. They built, how I got kicked out because I took a knife to school. Was in California. Someone said they was gonna try to beat me and my brother up. And I'm like, instead of going and tell the proper authorities and things of that nature, I decided to take matters into my own hands. And so I took a
Hmm.
knife, and the police officer that was working saw the knife at the school, and they was like, "Yo, come on." Get to the principal's office. I'm thinking that she's only going to suspend me, give me a good talk. No, she just expelled me. And so I couldn't go
Mm,
to no other school inside of that area, inside of the state of California. But I had a grandmother that would send me books and things of that nature for me to read and to keep, trying to be advanced in my studies. After we left California, we moved to Texas. That was about 96, 97. Got kicked out of school there. I got back into school just to get kicked back out. Just
Hmm.
being in gangs and stupid stuff like that. So got kicked out. We had a big fight on the campus. It was me. I was and one of the football stars, and we was fighting each other and they crew and my crew, and they was like, "Yo, we just can't do it anymore." And so after that, moved with my dad in Kansas City. Me and my dad didn't really work out, eye to eye. Later on in life, we came better. but we couldn't work eye to eye out together a lot of times because of those negativations that people put in my head about my dad. And
Mm,
Mm.
because I was looking at it from that eyesight, I didn't allow my dad to be my dad. I allowed him to show me who he was. He showed me who he was based off of other people's thoughts of him.
perspective. Yeah.
And
Oh
so
wow.
because of that, we clashed. So I ended up moving with my grandmother, who kind of helped change my life around and steer me in the right, better direction. And so got into a high school. I turned to high school. A lady there was named. His name is Carolina Forte. She was my counselor. She believed in me. She said, "Hey, you know what? You're not dumb. Even though you couldn't read on the eighth grade level, I'm making sure that you can get to the reading level that you need in order to graduate. I'm gonna make sure that your spelling gets better and things of that nature. Not only am I going to do that, but I'm going to involve you in the community. And so now you have a passion for serving your community." And she was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And so these are some things that she did. And so that helped me. They shaped me and they pushed me into where I am today. And so all of that to say, resiliency, having the power of one person to believe in you. And now because they believed in me and I have other mentors and things of that nature, the only thing I can do is do it for somebody else. That's how you become
Absolutely.
the most powerful person, not the money, not
Yeah.
not nothing like that. No matter how much education you got, whatever else like that. If you can reach back and grab one, because the person that reached back and grabbed you, the world becomes a better place. And so
Absolutely.
Mm.
that's why I do what I do, no matter how much sleep I get or not get sleep. Somebody needs me. So
Wow. That's beautiful, man. I think you made such a point that, and I was even going to tap that you had one person who could change your life, right? Who could believe in you enough to let you borrow some of that belief to kind of get
mhm,
to the next stage.
yep,
I think oftentimes we hear stories like yours and we're like, wow, that's beautiful, that's powerful because he went from this to that. But there's so many smaller steps and experiences along the way that have to happen within the years of that span.
yep.
Tell us about like that transition from being in that space where she was able to give you even just a little bit of faith in yourself to getting from that place of let's get you on the eighth grade level to college.
Mm,
Yeah.
Like that's too big a jump for us to just go from that to that. Tell us about that experience and how you get that.
So so my transitioning period, after I graduated from high school, I had my high school diploma, which a lot of people didn't think I was going to be able to obtain, and I'm grateful that God allowed me to do that. There was a period that I didn't know what next to do, and so I
Mm,
went to college right after that, and got to college. And believe it or not, I ran track at Park University in Kansas City, Missouri. Actually, if you remember, there was a guy named Maurice Green. At the time, he was one of the fastest guys in the world, but he had spent some time at Park University under the coach that I was there with, and went there, ran track. I didn't go to class.
mm,
I partied with the baseball team, did the keg stands, I was partying and didn't go to class. And so the next semester, I get a letter say, "Hey, come and talk to the dean of students." I'm like, "Why I need to come talk to y'all?" Get to the dean of students. Dean of students say, "Yeah, man, you're a good athlete, but you're not a great student, and so
mm,
you can't come back here." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay." But I did it to myself. I'm like, you know
right.
what? It's real. I did it to myself. And so I left there and went to a JUCO college. Didn't play sports or anything like that. Went there, went there in Kansas City. It's called Penn Valley Community College. Got my grades up. Met a young lady there. And instead of doing what I needed to do, the next college I didn't go there for the right motives either. I went there because of the female that was there. And because she
mm,
was there, I was going there too. And got there. Here you go again. I might go to this class or that class, but my priorities, my whatever else wasn't there, wasn't focused for the right reason.
Hmm.
And so I got kicked. So I get kicked out of there. So I'm like, yo, what did I do? Like, what else do I do? Like, where do I go and things of that nature. And so I end up going to the military right
mm,
after getting kicked out of two colleges. I mean, the first two colleges, went to the military. And believe it or not, it took me a long time to get into the military. A long time because you gotta pass the ASVAB test. So
Mm-hmm.
test you have to like if the back when I was getting in to get in the army just for the bottom of the bear jobs, you had to get a 31 overall comprehension. For the Air Force, it was the highest, was like a 35. The Marines, the Navy, and Coast Guard was 31, 32, stuff like that. So I failed this test like 3 times, y'all. I failed it
Dang.
3 times. Let me tell you how good God is. Which I always say favor is fair, but so I couldn't get in and things of that nature. And so the recruiter, who became a good friend of mine, was like, yo, you might not be able to get in on the active duty side right away, but go through the National Guard because the National Guard right now is giving out waivers for people that want to go, that couldn't pass the ASVAB test or didn't make high enough scores to get in. And once you get in, you can transition from National Guard to go active duty. And so I did that, right? And so my waiver, guess what my score was to get into the military?
What?
I ain't guessing.
I scored a 1, bro. I got in the military with a 1.
What?
With a 1. With a 1. With a 1. Don't ask me.
That's
Don't ask me
crazy,
how.
bro.
Don't ask me why. I got in there with 1, right? The power of 1, right? That power of 1. with a waiver. Got me into the military, bro. It wasn't because I was dumb and things of that nature, because I got done with high school with a 3.2. So it wasn't that I was dumb or things of that nature. Wow. I just couldn't test good. I couldn't test good else like that. So I got in with a 1. And the crazy thing is, got in with a 1 in National Guard, went to Fort Jackson for basic training, went to Fort Lee for my individual training, which was a 92 Fox / 88 Mike petroleum fueler, 88 Mike truck driver, and things of that nature. Got in, went in the National Guard, and then after the National Guard, I was like, yo, I want to go active duty. And so they allowed me to go active duty with a 1 on a waiver and get in there. Get in there, and I thought my life would be different and be better, whatever in there, but no, here comes Victor being Victor again. And so I get to Fort Riley, which is in Fort Jackson, Fort Riley, Kansas. It's in around Manhattan, Kansas, where K-State is. It's in Junction City, Kansas. And so I get there, get to the new unit. We were building a new unit to go to war. And so I get there, and I did a knucklehead thing there. And so the knucklehead thing I did there was one of the soldiers, we call them battle buddies, they wanted a gun, and they couldn't get it. So they was like, yo, Victor, go buy me a gun. I'll buy it from you. And I was looking at that money. I was like, okay. Yeah, I go buy this gun. Didn't transfer this gun to nobody. Just sold it to him in my name and everything. So this cat, so the NCO on duty said, well, what was going on? And so the NCO was like, yo, you need to stay here. We need to find this shotgun. It was a shotgun. Like, we need to find this shotgun. And so I'm grateful because they found this cat out on the base shooting things and shooting up things like whatever else like that, right? And so if he had shot someone or whatever and someone got hurt, not only would he get in trouble, but I'm gonna get in trouble because my name is on the gun.
Yeah,
and I'm the one that gave it to him or whatever else like that, right? But God saved me again, the power of 1, because the NCO said, yo, you know what, we're gonna get this gun back or whatever else like that, right? And so they get the gun back. That soldiers get kicked out the military. I was lucky because I had a power of 1 person that said, hey, you know what? We're going to give this another chance. We'll give you another chance because we believe in you. And so I got an Article 15. Had to do 45 hard days or things of that nature, whatever else like that. You know, I thought I was the worst soldier, and no one, whatever else, wanted to do anything with me, whatever else like that, right? But again, resiliency, the power of 1. I learned resiliency. That's one of the strong things we do in the military, being resilient. And so I learned that in the military. And so instead of letting my position be my position, I'm like, you know what am I good at? I'm good at serving my community. I'm good at that thing. And so what I decided to do was put a back to school drive on for the kids that was in the community offside the base. And so I was able to give out 100 brand new backpacks full with school
Yeah.
supplies. Got with the barbers. The barbers gave them free haircuts and things of that nature. Um, and turnaround was crazy because I was able to receive the highest military award you can receive for volunteerism, and that was called the Army Volunteer Medal, which is the highest
Mm,
military
that's
award
dope,
you can
bro.
get for volunteering. And
Yeah.
so that changed changed the way people looked at me, even in my unit, even in the battalion, the brigade. Now I became the golden child because I did this. And now not only am I getting credit, but my unit getting credit, the
Hmm.
battalion getting credit, the brigade commander's getting credit. I'm going out there and getting a handshake from the post commander, and they like, man, good person and things of that nature. And
Beautiful.
so again, they're resilient. And then like, you know what am I good at? How can I turn that into something? So
Hmm.
I've been doing this all my life, just in different ways, but all the time I always had that power of the one person. If it was from the one I got and someone got me in, if it was from the soldier, that whatever one person in the NCO, I mean, the best NCO I had was called. His name is retired Command Sergeant Major Ishman. He always said it is what it is, and he believed in me, and that's what it's been going on ever since, man. And so yeah, so after I got out of the military, I went back to college and chose Langston University. I kind of went to any college though. Chance was any college
Yeah.
because the military was gonna pay for it, and so I chose Langston because there was people that I knew that went to Langston before me. You had Adrian Brown, Aaron Brown. They both
Hmm.
early 2000 graduates. Both of them are Alpha Phi Alpha members. Then you had Jamila. She played basketball. Robinique.
Hmm.
I had other people than that. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go to Langston. And I'm glad I did because Langston also changed my life because now I wasn't just a number. I was a person at a higher institution that they knew me. They knew, how to guide me and direct me. And I'm still in contact with some of my old instructors and even till this day. And so Langston was one of those
Yeah.
schools that changed my life around. And again, in resilience. If you go to HBCU, you gotta have to be resilient because guess what? Your financial aid might not always be there all the time. You might not be able to get a ride to go through whatever else like that. You gotta find ways to build resilience even as a college student. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
it pays off after you get, what you came there to get. After you ain't, fall into that trap and things of nature. Because I already had fell into that trap so many times. And I'm like, well, now
Mm.
my perspective's good. Now that I'm there for the right reason. And then it was crazy because my bachelor degree is child development. And at that time, Dr. Davis was over that whole department. But I grew up with
Yeah.
her son, Mark Davis. And so there
Hmm.
was another inroad that was like, that power one, like, go to Lane, say, hey, do this. And so everywhere I looked, it was only one person, and they
Hmm.
believed in me. And so from high school all the way whatever, I'm always having one person. Even today, 38, I still got
Yeah.
people that believe in me when I mess up because I ain't perfect. They like, hey, let's get this back together, or hey, let's do this or whatever else like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what it is.
Man, I like the idea of people being able to see you for the gifts that you have to offer in terms of servitude versus the conditions that you've actually had to live through. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think that's the most difficult thing in terms of resilience is that we tend to identify ourselves as the mistakes that we made rather than the
Mm.
contributions we can give to others.
Yep.
Yes. One of my favorite parts of your story that you shared, and I want people to start recognizing the pivot points, right? Because you said something that's easy to brush by, but you said you simply asked yourself, "What am I good at?"
Yeah,
Right? That was a pivot point from you saying, "Why is this happening to me? Why is that happening to me? Who's doing this to me?" To what am I good at? And not like
yeah,
what where can I make some money? Because we go
right.
there easily. Oh, where can I
Yeah.
make the most money? But
Yeah,
what am I good at? Or what I understood it to mean for you was where can I give from my best self?
right.
That's good, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's powerful.
yeah,
Can I ask y'all a
ooh,
question?
yes, sir.
yeah.
If I was to ask y'all, what's the hardest thing that you ever had to do? in your life, even something today, what's the hardest thing y'all ever had to do? What would y'all tell me?
The hardest thing I think I've ever had to do.
I can tell you, for me, the hardest thing I've ever had to do was come back here to Oklahoma City.
Hmm,
Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah, leaving my daughter in Georgia.
Yeah, that's real. It's real.
Man, that's difficult, bro. I'd probably say, I'm trying to think in terms of the objects, because that's just one of the activities that you do in life. Really trusting yourself and betting on yourself.
Hmm.
That's good. And there's
Betting on
no wrong
yourself.
answer. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. When I think about it, there's been a lot of projects when I think in terms of hindrance,
Mm-hmm.
where we know it's something we could be doing, we should be
Yeah.
doing, but having the belief to follow through
Yeah.
would really, betting on the house
Yeah.
and going all in for yourself has probably
Yeah.
been the biggest thing because I've been so groomed in self-doubt, and scarcity,
Mm.
overcoming that, in
Yes.
aspects of thriving and not just
Yeah.
showing up because it's easy to show up and exist, but actually follow through with purpose.
Mm.
You
That's
know what
good,
I'm saying?
man.
In this
No,
in
that's
this
good.
world, yeah, we congratulate mediocrity so much. And it's not that I'm talking down on anybody else, is
Yeah.
that we congratulate mediocrity so much that it's hard to be able to appreciate wanting to live a worthwhile life of contribution and
Mm.
passion and purpose. It's
That's good.
difficult, bro. Yeah.
That's good. I like your answers because that's not a right or wrong answer. And I asked that question for a reason. And although y'all both said different things, I believe there's also an underlying thing there
Absolutely.
that unites all of us, everyone in that ever has ever lived, everyone that's living now, no matter if you're male or female, no matter what you have to your name, or no matter what you don't have to your name,
Let's go.
no matter where you classify yourself as or not, we all have this underlying thing that I believe a lot of people overlook. And so for me, the hardest thing for me to do was tell myself the truth.
Facts.
The hardest thing for me to
Yeah.
do was
Whew.
tell myself the truth. And the reason why it was so hard was because I was worrying about what everybody else thought about me,
Facts.
worried
Yes.
about what everybody thought I should do,
Hmm.
thought about what I shouldn't do. And so I became so consumed in that. I remember my grandma said, "Why don't you be like your uncle?" And the only
Yeah.
thing I saw my uncle do was be successful. And successful to me was money. And
Right.
Yeah.
because he was over a hospital, his wife was top accountant out in Omaha, Nebraska. And so I saw that money. I saw the
Hmm.
cars. I saw the house. I saw, and I had other people. My dad was very successful. He ran the Dallas Black Pages. He was running for mayor when he passed away in Delaware. He had a radio show. I mean, I seen so much success, but also seeing the end result of it was the financial blessings or financial things
Right.
that we
Hmm.
saw. And so when people say be like this or be like that, they really don't know what they're doing. But subconsciously, they creating us a false identity. Why?
Absolutely.
Because they making us be somebody that we was never designed to be, never purposed to be,
Yeah.
never created to be,
Hmm.
because now we worrying about what they're going to say about us. We're about what they're going to do. And the crazy thing about it is most of the time, these people ain't worrying about us. They out doing everything else, but we
Facts.
worrying about them.
Yeah.
And so now we making a life based off of what they think about us or what we should do about it, and it really truly hurting us.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
so because of that, the problem of identity crisis is being something that we was never purposed to be. Now that leads out to stress.
Yeah. It's the be so do.
That leads to
Mm.
stress. It leads to depression. And
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
sometimes it leads to despair, where we think we're the only person in this whole wide world, and our life is better end up dead than alive. That's
Facts.
and so isolation, right? The enemy works in isolation. If you look at the Bible, if you're Bible
Hmm.
believers, we can see that when the enemy attacked, it was always in isolation, because
Hmm.
the enemy knows that when you are isolated, guess what? He has a better opportunity to get to you,
Yeah.
rather than if you surrounded by people that actually believed in you. And so
Right.
even in our lives, we find ourselves in isolated situations that sometimes it becomes the detriment of us when it actually doesn't have to be. And so what do we do? How do we get out of that funk? How do we get out of that stage?
That's
Well,
good.
Michael Jackson, man, he just celebrated. I know he's not living, but they just celebrated 40 years of his best album ever song on Soul.
Wow.
And Michael Jackson sung this one song, man. He said, "Man in the Mirror." He
Yeah.
said, "I'm going to look at the man in the mirror, and it starts with me today." And the reason why he even wrote that song was because he was touring overseas, I think like China somewhere. And while he was overseas in China, a kid got kidnapped, and they needed a ransom for this kid. The ransom never came, and the kid got killed. And that did not sit right with Michael Jackson. You go look it up; it's a true story. And so he crafted this song to say, something got to change. It's got to
Yeah.
start with me, not nobody else or whatever else like that. No more victim mentality roles, no more victim mentality situations. I can control myself. I can do something different. And so for me, I had to look myself in the mirror. I had to look myself in the mirror to tell myself the good, to tell myself the bad, and to tell myself the ugly about Victor Ray Patterson. Not based off what nobody else thinks about me,
Hmm.
my family thinks about me, friends thinks about me, the women I've been with think
Come
about me.
on, man.
I gotta look at the
Yeah.
mirror for myself, not to get the crust out my eyes, not to brush my teeth. I had to look at the man in the mirror myself and say, guess what? I gotta start something different. And so
Absolutely.
because I was able to unlock the truth is actually what makes you the most
Yeah.
powerful person in the world.
Yeah.
No matter how much money you got, no matter what education you have, you don't have the truth. It makes you the most powerful person in the world. And
Yeah.
so when I'm able to tell myself the truth, now I can go into any room, any executive board meeting, any whatever, and know who I am. And because I know who I am, I become the most powerful person in the world. I
Man, let me
become
tell
the
you,
most powerful person in that room.
Whew.
authenticity is a superpower. What people don't understand,
Mm.
man, whenever you so used to living in a facade and a construct is so difficult to defend. It dismantles so easily. But I think it's that vulnerability that allows us to even get to that point. Unfortunately, I mean, like maybe it's just the way that it's configured. We have to fall down so many times
Yeah.
to get to that
Yeah.
point. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. I love Vic how you went from what is the hardest thing you've done to what now becomes a question that I will pose to people is what is the hardest truth you had to face about yourself?
Mm.
That's a good
Because
one.
that's the question you asked us, and when we get to that depth, that's where the hardest decisions are made. That's where the toughest times are. You literally turn towards light. In the hardest times is
Yeah.
when you can get to that space. And
Yep.
whew, thank you for that. Thank you
Yeah,
for that
man.
question, man. That was
I
You
think
know,
God
that was
big.
is
powerful.
giving you some love.
Oh, that's my
Yeah.
wife, man. That's my
Uh,
Yeah, that's
wife.
I was
She's
like, I was
I was
thinking
gonna
it
shout her
was.
out. I said,
Yeah,
listen, the
she's giving
missus back
love.
here, she back here got you propped up, my guy. And
yeah,
let me
that's my
tell you,
wife.
I've never met your wife, and seeing you all's journey and how you all have shared your journey has just been so beautiful, man.
I appreciate you, man.
And powerful in a time where like the things that people are talking about when it comes to marriage, and then of course when it comes to those who are in service, like like Megan and Devon, and
Yeah,
they're split. Like
yeah.
I couldn't imagine the pressure that you two carry just in trying to live your life authentically and as yourself. What is that like, man?
Well, we got
Well,
after that we got some comments too. I want to make sure I acknowledge. Okay.
honestly, I appreciate my wife. Um,
Come
because
on. Get these
uh,
points, bro. Get these points, bro.
I, I appreciate my wife, man. And this is just honest the truth, man. My wife lives in a space of being authentic, transparent, to a
Mm,
way where she does allow tradition to keep her from being who she is.
Woo!
Now,
ooh.
I come
Oh,
from a very traditional church.
yeah.
And I'm AME Zion, right? AME Zion, AME CME. There were those pretty much was the first
Foundation.
primarily denominations
Hmm.
for African Americans.
Yeah.
And we have people like Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Paul Robeson, all those type of people that came through the ranks of Methodism. And so, yeah, it's very traditional in a sense of going to church on a Sunday, preaching, not really teaching, do this, whatever else like that. And so she's encouraging me or showing me how to kind of even not to live in that comfortability that I've become so comfortable with. And so I
Wow.
appreciate her that, right? And the crazy thing about it, right? Now, this is not my first marriage. I failed in marriage too, bro. I was married
Interesting.
twice. I was married twice before I married her.
That's
Married
awesome.
twice. The
Wow.
first one was while you're in the military, you get extra money to be married, get out the barracks.
Hmm. Yeah.
I did that contract marriage. The second marriage was kind of more of a serious marriage, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And so, now this is my third one, and it ain't been a great day. It ain't been a perfect day and things of that nature. But she's teaching me also how to keep on fighting for marriage, keep on fighting
Mhm.
Yeah.
for those things when I want to quit, when I want to give up, and things of that nature. When she get on my nerves and all that, now she don't get on my nerves, but when all that stuff, when I get on her nerves and all that stuff happens, she's still there. She's still solid. Yeah, we have
That's
emotions. Yeah, we
beautiful.
have moments and things of that nature.
Powerful.
But she's taught me a lot, and we met online. Believe it or not, we met during the pandemic.
Come
Um,
Oh,
on.
we
oh
met in the
wow.
chat. We met in the chat group. We met in the chat group around December 2020. Probably, matter of fact, it was December 24th, 2020. We was in this Christian chat group or whatever else, like dating group, and I posted a picture up there, a little small little intro about me, and she jumped on me first. I tell everybody this. She said I like your I like your style. You know what I mean? And she didn't say hi like any of whatever else like that. She said, "Hey, I like your style," and they caught my eye. And so I went to go check out her things or whatever else like that. I said, "Yo, she fly, she dope." And so ever since then, we went in each
Yeah.
other's inbox, and ever since then, we've been locked in. And so, like I said, it's not been perfect, but
Yeah,
it's worth
man.
it.
Yeah.
And her family, though, her family accepts me, man. That's another beautiful thing about it. When her mother and her father and her stepfather accepts you and treat you not just as her husband but as your son,
Yeah.
that also makes it even better, man.
It's beautiful.
Whew. Come on,
That's
man.
beautiful,
Come
man.
on. I wish I could do like an applaud. Come on.
I'm I'm hearing so much about your story has been resting on these moments of acceptance that by society standards and even the things that we deal with in ourselves is it's just like not even warranted. And it's so beautiful.
You gotta live in your own authentic transparency, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And even in our
Mhm.
church, even in my denomination church, most of the times the pastor has to be in a black suit or a blue suit,
Hmm.
Mhm.
with collar, and if you preach on a Sunday in a robe. But I've even been breaking from that and being my
Mm.
authentic self, putting on some J1s and walking around and things of that nature. Starting Sunday, I'm going to be teaching for a little while, not preaching, but actually teaching. And I might not even teach from the pulpit. Might just get down on the floor where everybody else
Yeah.
is and teach, man, because that's who I am. That's what my passion is. My passion is to see people do better, do well,
Yeah.
and so living in that authenticity, no matter what setting I'm in.
That's
Yeah.
powerful, bro.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel
Amen.
like that's really what reaches people.
Mhm.
To feel like you don't have to show up. It's like the word says, man views the body while God views the heart. It allows for just a different type of connection when it comes to just being human and being able to show up as you are and understand that, bro, the process doesn't always looks like the outcome.
Mhm.
You never know where you at within that process,
Yeah.
fam.
Yeah,
But being able to say, I'd rather learn from someone that says, man, I got experience in it. Like I'm not just telling you this. Like this is really my story,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And show a person what it looks like to get to that other side. Because
yeah,
sometimes for a person going through it, that's not even a notion that we can conceptualize
Mhm.
mentally. Let's keep it 100, man. When you in the valley, like
Woo.
the idea of seeing the mountain, it sounds good. Like in theory, it sounds good. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like even when
Yeah.
I was doing mentorship, I wrote a book called From Living the Legacy
Mhm.
because when I was doing mentorship and I was telling kids like, yo, I was on Scare Straight when I was in high school. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? My brothers got caught up with a gun charge. I had
Yeah,
a brother that died at 18. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I got a brother serving 40 years in prison. Like I can tell y'all, like I've really lived through these situations where it doesn't look like you're gonna be on the other end. And sometimes we do feel like the only way to get out of this is by taking our lives. Let's keep it a
Mm.
buck. It's like the third leading cause for black men. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So whenever we face circumstances like that, the idea of having someone speak life sometimes doesn't occur with the significance until we get to the point to where we want to see ourselves for how these other people identify us as.
That's
You know what
good,
I'm
man.
saying?
That's
For
good.
mentorship, it took people speaking life over me so much for me to be like, bro, who is this person you see me for? Because
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
definitely don't have the
yeah,
behaviors, I don't have the habits,
yeah,
and I don't have the mindset that is
yeah,
matching up with the life that you're speaking for me.
yeah.
Right?
That's
Even
good.
with even within church, man, I had some pastors that kicked me out of church that was like, yo, you got tattoos. We don't do this. One of the pastors said there's no heaven for a thug. There's no
Yeah,
Tupac
well,
that's
who
allowed.
having four did? Who
Yeah,
having
that's what
four?
he said. Listen, you got earrings. We don't do Tupac here. There's no heaven for a thug.
Wow.
And so for the longest
Yeah.
time of my life, I identified as how the environment saw me or society saw me before I was able to identify with my God-given identity. So let's talk about that because, bro, from that A to B, I get that question like, how did you transition this? And this is not easy to feel worthy of the prominence that God has on your life. Let's keep it a buck. So, how did you even get there to even feel
Mm.
worthy for that calling? Because a lot of us know that we got that and we know that we can give back in a great capacity. But how do you get beyond the doubt?
Man, well, I still have moments of doubt.
Mhm.
Um, I still have. I won't sit here on your platform and say I never have doubt. I won't sit here on your platform and say I never have questions. I won't sit here and say I don't never talk about leaving ministry or quitting ministry.
Yeah.
But what does not what does not release me or what doesn't make it easy is because I know that I was born for this. I was purposed for this
Mm,
because I ran away from it so long that I
Mhm.
ran right into it. All my failure experiences, all my
Yeah.
failure moments, I fell forward right into it. So, when people tell me I got a call in my life, I just say keep running because eventually your life is going to change, man. And so, I want to answer that. I want to give you a life story. And so after I get out the military, I get out the military because I got hurt in Iraq, so I've been deployed, and then I came back with diabetes,
mm,
type 1, and so
fell
that
for it.
structured my life, because I wanted to be in the military. I love the military. I love traveling. I love the war. I'm a fighter. My name
Yeah,
stands for fighter, warrior, and so it's already embedded inside of me to be
powerful.
this. So your name means something, right? So I'm already a
Mhm.
fighter, and so I wanted to be in the military. So when it was taken away from me, I didn't understand it because it took me so
Yeah.
much to get into it. It took me so
Mhm.
much of crying late days because I couldn't pass the ASVAB test and things of that nature to finally get it in there. And now I got to get out. And so the crazy thing about it is, right, I got out at 30%, but now I'm 100%. And so they pay me for the rest of my
Mhm.
life. They also pay for all my health care. They pay all that stuff, right? This is one
Yeah.
person that went in with got a one that was not
Man,
expected. Did not serve 20 years. I served about 6 years, and now I'm retired as a 20-year veteran with all the benefits in the world. And that's
crazy.
God. And so even on top of that, after I got out, I fell under the medical condition called gastroparesis. And
Mm,
Mhm.
so I was living in Oklahoma at the time. I was working for the state of Oklahoma in the child welfare. I was going out and taking kids from the home and things of that nature. And so I got sick one day, and that sick I was found out that it was called a medical condition called gastroparesis. It's so
mm,
uncommon, and so there wasn't really nothing that they could do. They could try to give me medicine. They did that. It really wasn't working. They
Yeah.
put a pacemaker, a gastro simulator in my stomach. It kind of
Mhm.
worked. It didn't do anything or whatever else like that. And so I lost everything, man. I lost my brand new affinity. I lost the place where I was staying. I lost everything when I had to go back home and live on my grandmother's couch.
Yeah.
In those
Mhm.
3 years, I tell people I died. I didn't die a physical death, but
Yeah.
I died a spiritual death, a supernatural death. And in that death, I learned that, you know what? I learned that like a woman has those 3 stages of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
When you first recognize that you pregnant, now you got to start changing some things around, doing some things differently. That's what kind of happened to me. Like, hey, why am I in this position? What can I do? Whatever else like that. And so then when a woman knows whatever, in that second one, they become very equipped. They know they got a purpose that they about to birth. And they doing
Mhm.
everything in their body to make sure that the birthing experiences will be beautiful and not just painful. Knowing because when she births, that baby is gonna become the most beautiful thing in the world. And so I even went through that experience and finding out what am I birthing out of me? What's birthing? What
Mm.
is God trying to birth from me? And then on that third stage with women, they normally deliver. You know, they give the Bible. Now now I believe I'm living in my delivery experience
I
from
like
that
it.
Yes.
from that 3 semesters.
Yeah.
I had to know what, you know, again, the things that I was doing might not have been right. What got me there, and now how do I live in the purpose that God fulfilled me? And guess what? You said something, man, about valleys. Can I tell you, I'd rather live in a valley than a mountaintop experience? Because
Mm.
and the reason why I say that is because the same thing that keeps the mountaintop at the highest peak is the same thing that keeps the valleys going either north and south or east and west.
Interesting.
Same
Mhm.
thing. The only way that you can have a valley is because it has to be water there. Where does the water come from? The water either comes from rain, man put water in there, or
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, if it's about a mountain, the water trickles from the mountain inside of the valley. And that's why
Mhm.
so much water there, right? And we know
Yeah.
something, right? In growth, it hurts, but you
Yeah.
cannot grow without water. You
Right.
can't, nothing in the
Yeah.
world can grow without no water. So you need water to grow, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how vegetarian works. So when you look at a valley, it's not dead. It has greenery all around.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
most beautiful greenery that you will ever
Woo!
see. And that's because of
Yes.
the water that was there, right? And
Yeah.
so when we put on our spiritual cap, our spiritual thinking, and we begin to search through the Bible, we realize that water is significant because water represents Christ. Water
Absolutely.
represents, say, I come to have you can have life and have life more abundantly. The water
Absolutely.
All
said,
right.
hey, I want you to drink from this natural spring of water from
Absolutely.
me and not from
Yeah.
the well. And even
Yeah.
in Psalms 23, yo, that I walk through the shadow of the valley of the
Valley of
dead.
death.
It
Yeah.
talks about water. Why?
Yeah.
Because there's water there. And anything
Mm.
that has to grow, you have to have water. And
Absolutely.
so you're not, so if you're going to grow in life, you're going to go through some pains. You're going to go
Right.
through some life situations. You're going to go through that, right? But guess
Yeah.
what? It's water there. And that water, even though sometimes about water, it can stay still or you can erupt. And so even
Yeah.
the still moments, Jesus is there. He might not be saying nothing to you, but he's still there. He has never left you. He has never forsaken you, and he will never leave you or forsaking you. He's just trying to see are you gonna grow. And
Right.
so I tell people I'd rather be in the valley because I can grow there.
Yeah.
I love being on the mountaintop.
Goodness.
It's good, it's relaxing, but
That's
put me in
beautiful.
the game, baby. Put me in the
Yeah.
game, coach. Let's go grow. Let's go
Wow,
fight.
bro.
And so when
You
you
I
do
like
that,
it. I
you can
like
do
it.
it.
Yeah, man.
you don't
That's
know how many
perspective.
seeds you just watered right now.
Yeah, man. That's dope,
Like
man.
you
That's
don't know
dope,
how
man.
many seeds you are watering right now and how many people are hearing this and who needed to hear that. And I'm gonna say myself included, because that God, that's a beautiful
Yeah,
message,
man.
man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for that. Let me ask you, because there are some things that we gotta get to, even if it's just to touch on before we wrap it up, because we could
Got
stay here
you.
all day. But I want you to talk about tell us about your foundation and your book, because you talked about your
Yes.
story. Tell us, give us an introduction into your book and your foundation, and then before we go, we're gonna have to talk about Langston nursing.
Yes, sir.
Just
Yeah, we
we're
got
gonna
to
have to
make it
talk about it.
fast.
All right,
Yeah.
fast. So first of all, shout out to my wife again. My wife actually helped me put the you got to be careful who you marry, man, or who you with. It matters.
Facts.
And so,
Yeah.
so because she believed in me, and she saw every time I went out to talk to these kids, especially the boy kids, what I would do with them. And so women get affirmed all of that all the time. They do affirmations and all that. And sometimes men and the boy child are not affirmed. They are not. They don't have affirmation. They don't
Yes.
speak that. And so the book is my story, but broken up into where a kid could understand it, but also give them affirmations and say, guess what? You're a king. Guess what? You're not a failure. Guess what? You are successful. Guess what? You can do anything that you want to do. Guess what? The only thing that you got to do is look inside the mirror. And so when I go out and do these speeches or talk to them, I always give each kid a mirror. And I tell the kid to look in the
Yeah,
mirror,
man.
and we affirm them in that moment. We affirm them, whatever. And so that book is basically for anybody, but it's particularly for our black young boys that need to know that they can be affirmed. They need to know that they are somebody, and that success is dependent
Powerful.
on them. And so when you
Yes.
start younger, guess what? Hopefully you will develop into stronger men.
Absolutely.
Yes, that is beautiful.
Self
I'm
assurance
excited.
is man, it's important, bro. Self assurance is important.
Tell us the title of the book again.
It's
I Am Lovable by Victor
yep.
Patterson. You can find it on Amazon, or you can find it on my webpage. It's at vpspeaks foundation.com.
Now,
vpspeaksfoundation.com. I
tell
mean
us about
.org,
your
I'm sorry.
foundation.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
.org.
Tell us more about your foundation. Tell us a little bit about why you found it so important to actually create it, because that, I mean, it's enough to really show up in a community, but to be able to create a foundation for that, we're gonna speak from experience over here too. It takes some work, man,
It
to
does.
bring that part. Why did you move into that space?
Um, because it's my story. It's something
Mm,
that I had to experience. Anybody can do anything, but you can't bring credibility to it unless you did it yourself. And
mm,
so I felt like in this space I can bring credible ability to it because I had to do it myself. I had to know about the power of reading. I had to find reading for me became fun when I found stuff that I like to read about. And no matter
Mm,
how
yeah.
old you are, you're still young because you're still somebody's child. And
absolutely.
then reading can unlock so many possibilities of fun that we don't even understand. The imagination, the dreaming, things
Yeah.
that encourage us to go do things. And then the only way that you can do that, you got to try reading. And so I had to try reading. And
Mm,
so what we have created, please go check it out. Just in a short time, I created this with God, or God gave me the vision, and talked to a couple other people. But in the area that I live in, Palm Bluff, Arkansas, it's the bottom 50% of all the other school districts in the whole state. Their
mm,
reading literacy is 16% for all the overall school district. The math
wow.
literacy is 16%. You can't do math, you can't read. You can't read you can't go put on applications if you can't read. You
Yes.
and our school system, we all know, not only just national but in your individual city, our schools are going through so much. They don't have resources. They have limited, and sometimes teachers have to pay out of their own pocket. And so we're like, how
Mm,
can we do something not just for the school district, but something in the community to make the community a culture of reading literacy? And so
Yes.
that's what this was birthed out of. So the first program that we do is called VP Speaks, Books, Barber, and Beauty. And the initiative behind that is we're placing bookcases. You can see the bookcases on our website. We placing bookcases inside of barbershops and beauty shops. We're
That's
now
dope.
creating those spaces to be culture literacy, reading literacy. And so the ideal is when the kids go in there, they'll sign up. The parents have to authorize it, but they get a punch card. They have 10 punches on it. For every time they go in there, they read a book, punch the card. They have to they have to tell the barber what they read, and making sure they be able to comprehend it and things of that nature in order to get the punch. On that fifth
Yeah.
punch, they get a incentive from a local restaurant. And so we created partnerships with McDonald's,
that's
Domino's,
awesome, man.
Small Cakes, Wendy's, Hardee's, where if kids in another couple local restaurants there, where when
What's
a
the
kid,
pizza? Where's
huh?
the pizza? You gotta have the pizza in there,
Domino's,
man.
Domino's,
Domino's. Okay, I thought I was like,
yeah,
wait a minute. Listen,
Domino's,
I grew up getting pizza for reading books, man. You
yep,
can't. Don't give me
Domino's,
no burger.
yep,
I need some pizza.
yes,
I
sir.
love it, man.
Yes, sir, Domino's. And so the kids will get any, they can choose from any one of those selections on the fifth one. And
That's
they'll go, right?
beautiful.
But the kids can't go to the stores by themselves. They can't go to the restaurants by themselves. So either big brother taking them, big sister taking to them, mama, daddy take it to them, right? So not only is the kid getting something, now the restaurants have an opportunity to upcharge the parents to say, hey, you ain't gonna come to McDonald's and get baby something, you ain't getting nothing, right? And so that
Right.
created a whole economic system, right, for the
Right.
community
Yes,
inside of a whole booking program that say, you know
that's
what, did you see
beautiful.
this? But we're gonna bring money into you anyway because the parents gonna come to you. And so on that 10th one, they get a free haircut or they get a
That's
free
awesome.
freestyle, and then they can start all over again. And so that
Wow.
and so
Powerful.
right now we're in 3 locations and looking for to expand. And I want to focus on that area, but my dream is to expand to Oklahoma. My dream is to expand to Kansas City. There's other barbers that do this type of thing, but they're not doing it in the way that they're getting buy-in from the restaurants in the community.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what makes ours different because we realize that if a kid can't read now, you ain't gonna have a productive worker going
Right.
on.
Hmm.
You know, we look at Walmart going to no cashiers, not
Yeah.
because they really can't, because ain't nobody want to show up.
Right.
They can't pass jobs, they can't read applications or whatever else like that. And so now the
Mm.
community say, hey, reading is a problem. Most jails know by the time the kid is on a 3rd grade reading level, how many
They know
people, how
exactly.
many
Yes.
beds that they need. And
Right.
so
Hmm.
my thing is to target that in my community to fight back against that. And
Yeah.
so that's one program. The other program that we do is we have shared libraries in the community where the kids can
Hmm.
go to the park, pick up a book, take the book with them, put a book back, whatever else like that. We also have community empowerment where I go out into the classrooms reading books, and I'm just not reading books with them, but I call the kids up there and they read the book with me. It's one thing to be read; it's another thing to show them
Hmm.
how to read and comprehend
That's
what
it.
they read. And so now they are also fully engaged in that experience. And kids want to be, want to be worked with. They want to do those
Hmm.
things. But we gotta have black males or males period step up and even in that role. And so we do that. We go to local events and pass out free books. So anytime the community have an event, and they call me. We have so far, man. We have given over 700 books. And within 1 year,
Yes.
because every event that we set up, these kids get a free book, a brand
Yeah.
new
That's
book, not a
awesome,
used
bro.
book, a brand new book that these kids get. They can go with them. And then the last 2 programs, man, and then I'll be done with that. But the last 2 programs is really special and dear to me. We have what you call the Gerald Patterson laptop scholarship. Gerald
Mm.
Patterson was my dad. Um, and that man was gifted. He was a pastor, preacher. He, like I said, was running for mayor in Delaware. He ran the Dallas Black Pages. Went to college.
Crazy,
Went
man.
went to the Navy. He did all the rest of the things, whatever else like that. And so I wanted to do something to show honor to my dad.
Commemorate. Yeah.
Yeah, and what they do and what he did and what he believed and what he stood for. And so the scholarship
Mm.
laptop is only for graduating seniors right now in the local area. We'll open up the applications in January. We will choose 6 out of them, but the 6 either have to be going to college. I understand college ain't for everybody, going to pick up a trade, and also or doing entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And so each one of those will have a different category, different requirements, and things of that nature. But we'll award 6 people, 6 brand new laptop to the kids that graduate that applies to us. And so that's one
Awesome.
thing we want to do to give back. And then the last thing that we do is called the Grace Legacy Project, which is named after my grandmother. And like I said, she inspired reading in me. When I got in trouble under her care, I had to read a book of Proverbs every day. And not only did I had to read it, I had to write a book report to go
Yeah.
inside of it. And if I didn't get it right, guess what? I had to go do it again. And so
Yeah.
I did this not just a month, but constantly.
Yeah.
And so whatever you put in a child, eventually gonna come out of you. You
Yeah.
might not see it right away, but it's eventually gonna come out. And so And so with the Grace Legacy Project is I also understand that the people in the classrooms, the teachers also have to come out of their pocket a lot. And sometimes the
Mhm.
limitations. And I know because we do live in a technology world that a lot of kids now are just using Chromebooks with the books and things of that nature. But there's
Mhm.
still some teachers that want to have hard books in their hand. And so we created a program where the teachers can
Yeah.
apply to us and they get up to 25 brand new books in their classroom when they apply to us. And
Yeah.
so that's
That
the foundation, man.
My gosh, bro. Thank you for all of that. And I love, I hope people are hearing some things that they can tap into and support. Um, this, your story and the legacy you're leaving is amazing. And we thank you for that, man. Gosh, so much. I'm going to tell you, we were going to say, we wanted to talk about Langston University for a quick second because you're in Oklahoma right now.
Yeah,
And there's an amazing reason and a very powerful reason you're here. Tell us why you're in Oklahoma right now, what you need to do and what you're standing up for right now.
man, I appreciate this opportunity. And I know you're a fellow alumni. And
Yeah.
so at homecoming, we were was told that Oklahoma State University wanted to pilot or create their own nursing program,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
not the nursing program down in Tulsa because they had already had their thing. Matter of fact, the schools in Tulsa, OSU and Langston agreed that hey, y'all take all these things, but we're going to focus on nursing here in Tulsa for Langston, and they agreed to that. And so now the current president of OSU, she wants to create a nursing program at
Hmm.
at at OSU 30 minutes, 30 40 minutes away from Langston University. And what the problem is with that is OSU brand wise has a bigger brand, has a bigger name, especially in the state of Oklahoma. Anywhere you go to the
Hmm.
United States, they probably know OSU because of football programs, the basketball programs, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And so they, because of that, the last meeting that they had, the board of regents said they allowed them to start the program. So today we're going right back into another board of regents at the campus at Langston University campus in the physical therapy room, and to say, yo, please hear us, because if you allow them to do it, it's going to be detrimental to the students at Langston. It's going to really close that degree down, because it won't be no reason to go into Langston when you can go to get a degree from OSU. And the
Hmm.
crazy thing about it is Langston's nursing program is in the top of the whole
Yeah.
state. We don't have no problem with getting, and it's the
Yeah.
hardest. I know when I was a student, it was the number one program. I don't know where we rank now, but I know it's in the top. And so
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
you're trying to take our top program and, put it over there. And why? And so when I go in there today to speak up, because I sit on the National Alumni Association board, and so if I get the opportunity to go in there and speak up, I'm going to ask them why now. And the reason I
Yeah.
want to know why now is because at the last meeting they said that the numbers are showing this or whatever else like that they need them, right? But the crazy thing about it is there's been a nursing shortage in the whole United States since the 1930s. In Oklahoma City itself, the person that's over all the colleges that works with the health said that
Hmm.
they've been having a shortage since 2004. So why now, right? If you've been a shortage, if it's been all that stuff, why
Yeah.
now, right? And the only thing that I did, so I went being inquisitive, went to the Oklahoma State University page and looked at every president they had. They had 19 presidents. They had presidents that got kicked out of being a president because the governor wanted their friend to be in there, so they ran them off campus twice. In the early foundation of them, they had people, they had lawyers, they had all this, but no
Hmm.
one other than the current president had anything to do with the background of health department. And it's interesting that because the only other person that did anything was a president in 1977 to 1988. His mission was to create a school of medicine, which they did. Crazy thing
Hmm.
about that is the lady that's the president right now, was the past dean of that program. And so
Hmm.
I believe that she's ambitious. I read her bio. She said that she's a great collaborator, that she
Yeah.
collaborated with other Indian tribes and things of that nature to do things there. But sometimes a person ambitious is good, but it also hurts other people. And so my thing
Yeah.
is going up there and speak up and say, you know what? I understand. But why? Because you're a great collaborator. Why don't we collaborate and make a dual program that they both got to go OSU and Langston, and we can do it together? We under the same board of regents. Why now? Other than because you want your legacy.
It's and it takes us back full circle to the first comment I made when we opened up this episode, because we had kind of chatted about this before we went live, but this is we want people to understand that when we talk about setting boundaries, it's not just to push people away or keep people from taking your stuff. It's to maintain your legacy. And
Yep.
right now, what we're talking about and what Vic is talking about going to stand up for is the fact that Langston University has an amazing nursing program that has always represented our university, our state, and the nursing profession at the highest regard. And when you have regulations and rules between universities that say, no, big university, you can't just start a program that this smaller university already has because you're just going to overrun them.
Yep.
Those things are already in place. So what he's going to talk about is, why isn't that boundary being represented and honored?
Yep.
Why isn't the legacy of what Langston University has built and is doing on a daily basis
Listen.
being
Yep.
honored and revered and protected? So thank you for that, bro, because it's so necessary.
Man.
And so much of what our legacy is and the great things that we're doing are valuable. And when people see that and they want that, what are we going to do to not let that happen? And so
Exactly.
it is an honor to see you
Man, I
show up for us,
appreciate you,
bro.
man. I appreciate you,
Thank you for
man.
that.
Even our origins of Langston starting was because they didn't want us to be there.
Right.
They
And
didn't
now
want
they
us to be
coming back to
always
get
here.
it.
Now they come
Now
back.
they want to come back to take it.
And my question today is why now? You know,
Why not?
why now?
Mm.
If this program been going on and y'all never really be considerate at all the other presidents, they had their own
Mhm.
mission and initiatives. Why now? The only reason why now is because I got a new president that was in the medical field that is a part of different boards that dealing with children's health and things of that nature. She wants a legacy, and there's nothing wrong with having a
Yeah.
legacy. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious, but being
Mhm.
ambitious and a legacy to what the definition of a whole nother
Yeah.
institution, a whole nother person. That's not cool.
I mean, we've been living that long enough, right? we, haven't we decided
Yeah,
that we were done with that
yeah,
with
yeah,
that?
yeah.
But yeah, man. So to everyone out there who has been, I hope you learned and gained and grew in some amazing. This man, what you're doing, Vic, is so powerful and necessary. And we thank you and we honor you for that, man. And thank you for jumping on with us. I know I'm already fired up. Donnell had to squeeze out a little bit,
Yeah.
but we thank you. And I want to say that sincerely, that today was an amazing conversation. And I know when I go back and I listen to this again and share this, thing is going to continue to feed and to water us, bro. You're going to continue to do that. So thank you for
Appreciate you, bro.
that message and just for your work and your passion for what you're doing. You share where we can find you, VP Speaks. And we shared how to contact with you. You're here on Facebook. I know, hey, listen, if anybody needs to contact him to support his mission, support his programs, to hear some more of his preaching, because, I mean, he's bringing some real teaching, and I love that. To contact us, we got you, bro. And we've got anybody who needs to contact you to really move into that space. I want to share, before we go, a couple of things that we've got going on in the Man Cave, very particularly so. With Modern Manhood, our foundation has been growing. We're excited about things we got coming up. Listen, this Sunday, the 8th, we're going to be hosting a brunch, the Bell Brunch in Oklahoma City with Bell Books and Publishing. And it's an amazing opportunity to come out and have time to sit down and really dive into some real fun and exhilarating yet powerful moments to grow as entrepreneurs and as business owners and really connect and network. So tap in with us on December 4th. It'll be from 1 to 4 o'clock at the Place to Be Event Center.
Yeah.
We also have coming up this week our Man Cave meetup, bro. If, you got we'll have a time because you'll be able to sit down with us and really get to one of our meetups where guys are welcome to just come to the table with
going to toast to a new year. We're going to celebrate our triumphs and really just get a chance to enjoy some fellowship. That's going to be on December 8th. That's a Thursday evening from 6 to 9 here in Oklahoma City. So tap in with us to get more information. It's free, fellas. So get to us. And ladies, if you got some fellas who need to be in the spot, the space, let them know and have them contact us so we can get together with that. Also, some other programs we got coming up really soon. We'll be doing a new live masterclass here in January. We'll be sharing dates soon. We're also doing our fatherhood. Actually, this program that we've created is called the Birds, Bees, and Everything in Between. Our mission is to help reduce teenage pregnancy. So we're going to be hosting an 8-session Zoom conference once a week starting February 21st with men only. We're starting with men only so that we can actually talk about all the things we need to know and carry with us as we're having conversations with our family members, especially our teens and our children, about honoring themselves and what it looks like to have the hard conversations around sex. So we're excited about that program. And we got a whole host of other programs. So check out our website on manhoodmasterclass.com so that you can tap in with us. So those are just a couple of things we got going on. And I want to finish up by again saying to you, my brother Vic, and to your wife Ashley, because y'all obviously a partnership that is doing some amazing things in the community. So we are grateful for you. We thank you. We honor you. And is there any last words that you want to share with our audience before we get to this beautiful
Friday? Thank you once again, man, for opening up your platform. Because I know your platform you value, and I know because you have your platform, you have people that will only listen to you and take your word and your advice. So I thank you for even endorsing me, giving me the opportunity to even share some of the things that we got going on in my world. The last thing I want to just share with you, you guys who's watching it or who will watch it, in the church, we always say favor isn't fair. I would just like to challenge you today to say favor is fair. But you just have to pay for it. What are you willing to pay for that favor on your life? Yeah. And so when we see people that we compare to be successful or whatever, that's because they paid a price to get there. And that price might not always be the same price that someone else paid. But we have to be willing to pay a price. And once you pay that price, that favor on your life is going to be overflowing. And so we have to stop saying that favor isn't fair and say favor is fair. But what are we willing to do to receive that favor? That's all I have.
Ooh, thank you for that, brother. Listen, go out there and do what you do best, my guy.
Appreciate you, man. Yes, man. Appreciate you, D. Have a good day.